This is Carry On Clagging Steam version, Volume 3. Like the earlier programmes, we shan't be burdening you with lots of script, merely telling you what you're about to see. Here, for instance, is a typically southern scene. Teignmouth breasting the summit at Sheer on the Guildford to Red Hill line, with the Christmas Downsman in December 2004. Oliver Cromwell at Severn Tunnel Junction on the 1st of March 2009, working a St David's Day special from Paddington to Newport. Standard Class 4 75029 climbs towards Goathland on the moors in May 09. (73096) approaches Weybridge at speed in May 2004 with a Cathedrals Express from Victoria to Bristol. Meanwhile, back on the moors, Standard Class 4 tank 80135 passes Green End. Another Cathedrals, returning from Bristol, storms through Andover in August 2009. Standard Class 4260 76079 in the Esk Valley in October 2003. (9F 92212) partners 34007 at a Mid-Hants gala in September 2009. Cromwell's third appearance is at Upton Scudamore with a September 2008 Cathedrals Express to Bristol. 73096 approaches Burriton Tunnel in March 1998 with the Daylight Limited from Alton to Westbury. The inestimable Duke of Gloucester attacks Dainton with the Devonian Charter from Paddington to Plymouth in May 2007. Meanwhile, on the moors, the standard tank, 80135, appears again after picking up a different train. (75029) again with an all-maroon rake in the S Valley. By now, Britannia 13 has reached Great Wishford with the August 09 Cathedrals Express. In June 2009, the KWVR ran 3 shuttle trips between Keighley and Settle during its gala, using 5690 Leander. Here it is, working hard at Gargrave. King Edward I hurtles around the curve at Teignmouth with a Torbay Express to Kingswear in July 2007. Slightly off-piste, 45231 tackles Washford Bank on the West Somerset in March 09. A Scottish loco on the Western. Sir Lamiel passes Pangbourne with a Waterloo to Gloucester Cathedrals in October 2008. One of 2 Royal Scots active in 2009 tackles the Preston to Glasgow leg of the Great Britain 2. This is 46115 under the wires. Kinlitz Hall passes Halewell Bay on the West Somerset in March 09. Southern S15 number 825 at Gargrave during the Moors Gala of May 2009. The other Royal Scot, pulls away from Coombe Flory on the West Somerset in March 2009. A Black 5 at Beck Hull with that Pullman train again. 45537 in October 2002. Foxcote Manor at Trebles Holford in March 2005. In slightly more authentic surroundings than the other Class 5s, 45212 blast upwards at Oxenhope in December 2004. Quite rare in steam days, even more so today, a castle on the Guildford to Reading line. Nunney Castle passing ash with the Mid-Hants Explorer in September 2008. Meanwhile, Scots Guardsman has reached Shap with the Great Britain 2. The immaculate 45231 again, this time at Bicknoller in March 2009. Sir Lamiel speeds through Farnborough with a Cathedrals Express to Sherborne in December 2008, but will soon have to slow down for its water stop at Winchfield. Unmistakably, Sydney Gardens Bath, and a very authentic looking King Edward heading from Bristol to Weymouth in August 2008. Kinlet's Hall, worrying the sheep on the West Somerset in March 2009. Another of the Keighley to Settle Leander shuttles at Gargrave. the unusual sight of a castle on the west coast. 5043 working the Castle over Shap charter in June 2009. The King Arthur faces the challenge of Sapperton while working back to Waterloo with a Gloucester cathedrals in October 2008. Finally, 460, Leander on the KWVR itself, pulling away from Damon's Loop while heading for Oxenhope in 2006, and looking much the same as it did in 1969. .600 class 062 6695 at Bilbrook on the West Somerset in March 2009. Formerly of the National Coal Board, 140 works a train at Priors Lane on the MSA Railway. You'll remember this one from the last programme as Hudswell Clark 1821 of 1948. Jinty tank 47324 at Summerseat on the East Lancs in May 2009. Another Great Western interloper in Hampshire. 4200 class 280 5224 on the Mid-Hants in September 09. Isle of Wight Terrier, number 8 Freshwater at Haven Street in May 2007. A loco with a fascinating history. .5643 at Carrog on the Llangollen Railway in December 2008. Coming up, number 49, RSH 7098 of 1943 on the Tanfield Railway in March 2003. The Peckett 040 Kilmerston works a demonstration freight at Washford in October 2008. Kilmerston is a North Somerset village. LMS Class 2 262 41241 in Damon's Cutting in February 2004. A Jinty on the Churnet Valley Railway in December 08. Not claggy, simply beautiful to look at. Another one you'll remember from Steam Clag 2, the Airedale Railway's Jessie, on loan to the MSA Railway in April 2007. This is a little odd. A Great Eastern N7 on the Great Western. 69621 at Dunster in October 2008. Three years before its last appearance in the programme, 47279 at Mytholms on the KWVR. At Mytholms Tunnel, former Taff Vale 062 number 85 passes by in February 2007. The Barking Terrier at Blue Anchor, 662 in October 2007. Lambton Tank number 29 continues to punch above its weight at Beck Hull in October 2002. (5224) appears again, this time near Rockley in September 2009. Two shots of Renishaw Ironworks number 6. This is a Huntable Clark 060 saddle tank dating back to 1919. The loco arrived at the Tanfield Railway in early 2005, and these are some of its first runs there. Another shot of 5643 at the Llangollen Railway in December 2008. Another 5600 class, 6619 at Beck Hull in October 2006. .5100 class 262 4160 at Washford in October 2008. Rounding off the tanks is the one and only Pannier. 9466 on the West Somerset later that month. The 808 with British Railways. Number 88 is now carrying Somerset and Dorset identity and its original number. Here it is at Bicknoller in March 2009. .62005 at Beesdale while on its regular summer work between Fort William and Mallaig in 2007. The 44422 locomotive funds pride and joy at Hales on the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Railway in May 2008. Standing at 260-42968 at Oakworth on the KWVR in February 2006. 48151 passes Cove on the West Coast Main Line while working empty stock between Carnforth and Inverness in March 2007. The West Somerset's creation of a 4300 class 260. 9351 used to be 262 Tank 5193. This is from March 2009. The Great Marquis at King Gussie Station in August 2007 while working a charter from Perth for the SRPS. Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway 957 tackles Oakworth Bank during a KWVR gala in October 2006. Q6080 63395 near Goathland in November 2007. More foreign motive power on the Mid-Hants. LNW 080 49395 does battle with the Alps in September 2009. A classic view of 62005 on Glenfinnan Viaduct while working the Mallaig circuit in July 2007. The S&D's number 88, allegedly, appears again at Waterdean in March 2009. After delivering the empty stock to Inverness, 48151 heads for Wick with Great Britain 1 in April 2007. The day before, the Great Britain Charter passes Strathcarron behind the Great Marquis. 63601, one of many variants of Great Central Class 04, passes my homes in June 2009. The USA Transport Corps 5197 at Stogumber, normally based at the Churnet Valley Railway. Another view of the LNW 080 on the Mid-Hants, this time near Ropley. .62005 takes another Jacobite through Beesdale in August 2007. The tender locos round off with the one that isn't. 9351 at Woolston Manor in March 2009. So much has been said and written about Tornado that there's really nothing for us to add. So let's enjoy some of its more unusual wanderings in 2009. For the purists though, we'll start with Stoke Bank and April the 18th, Yorkshire Pullman. The return journey approaches Stoke Tunnel on the upgrade. On Valentine's Day, Tornado worked 2 trains over the southern region. This is the first from Waterloo to Eastleigh, passing through Wandsworth Road on the customary detour via Staines.
The approaching train is not scheduled to stop at this station.
The A2 races along the proper main line near Winchfield. The train reached Eastleigh via the Laverstock Loop and Southampton. In May, Tornado appeared as the star turn at the North Yorkshire Moors Gala. This is Darnholme. and later in the day at Beck Hull. The Southern region beckoned again on September the 13th, an Exeter-bound Cathedrals Express, which worked out over the full mainline route from Waterloo to Salisbury. This is Weybridge. The return from Exeter ran via Bristol and Westbury before regaining the southwestern main line at Salisbury. This is Greatley between Salisbury and Andover. On the 8th of August, the Tamar Tornado travelled from Bristol to Plymouth and back. So here's an A2 on the sea wall. Not an everyday sight. There was a Kent Coast Cathedral 7 days later. This is Finchdean and the outward London Victoria to Ashford leg. So where next, we wonder? The question mark signifies the number of attempts to close the Folkestone Harbour branch in recent years. This time it does look like the end, but we've learned never to say never about the modern railway. A year before the final day, Teignmouth worked out of the terminus with a Golden Arrow charter, which had originated from Nottingham. A rash of working from the harbour twice in one day broke out in 2009. Teignmouth with another Golden Arrow while shuttling back and forth to Folkestone East on January the 24th. Oliver Cromwell revived memories of a much earlier Golden Arrow on the 14th of March, when it too tackled the ski slope twice in one day. This was to prove the final day, as the track was officially taken out of use 24 hours after Cromwell's second departure. The famous harbour viaduct and much of the surroundings are expected to vanish if plans to develop the area into a yachting marina ever come to anything. Assuming, that is, that the branch doesn't open again. The Pacifics begin with the ever-busy Teignmouth, as you might expect. This is the Royal Wessex approaching Lichfield Tunnel on May the 4th, 2009, while en route from Waterloo to Swanage. Mainline at Little London with one of its many VSOE lunch circulars from Victoria to Guildford and Red Hill. This one is from February 2009. Bittern climbing Stoke Bank on the opening day of April 2008's North Britain. The A4 worked the train from King's Cross to York. (34070) Manston works a private charter on the Swanage Railway in April 2009. The months continued with Duchess of Sutherland working over Shap with the Citadel Express from Crewe to Carlisle and back. Sir Archibald Sinclair finally returned to action that month too. This is Freshfield Bank on the Bluebell line and a private special for members of the Battle of Britain Locomotive Group. The West Somerset's latest light Pacific, Braunton, at Watchet in March '09. Sir Nigel races through Pangbourne in December 2008 with a London to Bristol Cathedrals Express. The other Somerset West Country, 34028 Eddystone at Blue Anchor in March 2009. Winding back a decade, Tor Valley passes Earlswood in 1998 with a Victoria to Southampton charter during its second mainline career. The loco is currently undergoing a major rebuild at the Severn Valley Railway. Union of South Africa at Durham in April 2009 during its one-way trip from Edinburgh to King's Cross with the Great Britain 2 charter. (6233) works a Victoria to Oxford Cathedrals the long way round via Redhill and Guildford in July 2008. This is Albury. Tor Valley running as Ottery St Mary at Pangbourne with an Oxford-bound VSOE in April 2005. The Whitecliff's Christmas Luncheon from Victoria to Folkestone passes Chelsfield behind Teignmouth in December 2008. A gorgeous shot of 007 on the Coronation 2 in May 2009, skirting the Firth of Forth at Burnt Island while working the Edinburgh to Dundee leg of the tour. A Guildford Circular Christmas lunch special climbing at Albury in December '08 with regular naval power. (34007) Wadebridge is currently living at the Mid-Hants Railway. This was taken near Ropley in May 2009. The first Great Britain climbs Beatock behind suitable motive power in April 2007. Another shot of 34059 on Freshfield Bank in April 2009. (34070) Manston at the Swanage Railway on a dismal day in April '09. Sir Nigel takes a break from the hard work of the Mainline in May 2007 and climbs some North Yorkshire banks instead. Another view of 34046 soon after emerging from restoration in March 2009. December 2008 had 3 VSOE Christmas lunch circulars via Guildford. Here's the second at Hackhurst Hill on the 13th. The Duchess worked a Cathedrals Express from London Victoria to Westbury in August 2008 and then brought the train back from Exeter. This is Crofton on the outward run. (34028) Eddystone working hard at Castle Hill in March 2009. The Blue Streak ticks off some rare track at Ranmore while working from Victoria to Oxford with another consignment of carol singers in December 2008. I'm not crazy about red engines myself, but some go positively weak-kneed and misty-eyed when they see one at speed on a proper main line. So off you go. Cans of Spam, on the other hand, do appeal, so we'll round off with two more shots of Teignmouth. This is Deep Cuts and the Waterloo-bound South Western Express from February 2009. And even more appropriate, the Spitfire from Victoria to Faversham, passing Sandling in August 2008. Group really speaks for itself, but I'll give you some basic details. Cromwell departing from Newport with the return St David's Day special to Paddington in March 2009. The Sunny South Express ran to Weymouth from Clapham Junction in August 2008. Here it is coming back to Waterloo at Shawford near Winchester. The King Arthur at Surbiton, returning carol singers from Sherborne to Waterloo via the main line in December 2008. The Great Britain too picked up the Folkestone Farewells duo for its Plymouth to Bristol leg in April 2009. The departure from Exeter. Earlier in the day, they'd worked to Penzance, as you'll see in about 5 minutes. The Great Western Echoes nears Journey's End at Didcot in November 2008. 4965 and 5043. Oliver Cromwell at Sherborne, soon after taking over, and Exeter to Waterloo cathedrals at Yeovil Junction in September 2008. And echoes in daylight at Harbury. An earlier leg of Great Britain 2 picked up 5029 and 70013 between Plymouth and Bristol. Here they are, tackling Whiteball. 2007's Great Britain 1 enjoyed the unusual pairing of Union of South Africa and the Great Marquis. This is Inverine. "5553 pairs up with S&D 88 at Watersmeet in March 2009. "45231 and 62005 head for Scotland at Greenholme before their summer season of Jacobites in 2007. And here they are working together in the Loch Lomond National Park. The West Somerset West Countries compare couplings at Bicknoller in March 2009. Two heavy freight locos 2 months later with fairly similar origins paired up at Beck Hull, 53809 and 49395. With slightly less in common, i.e. nothing at all, 45231 works with Braunton at Kentford the previous March. A combination that obviously proves so popular they work back again later. .5029 and 5051 tackle Whiteball with the returning Penzance Castles Charter in May 2002. .2968 and 7325 assault Filton Bank in November 1997. A reunion of former shedmates at Hurston on the Swanage Railway in May 2009. Manston and Teignmouth. .45110 and 45407 have a crack at Whiteball while returning the Mayflower to Paddington from Plymouth in August 1999. In a late change to Great Britain too, Tangmere replaced 5029 on the morning run to Penzance on the 7th of April. Here it is with Cromwell at Liskeard. Bradley Manor and Earl Bathurst at Bye Farm in March 2007. an Ivat Class 2 and a Standard Class 4 pairing in February 2004. 41241 and 80002 at Myverns. But we end with a mainline double. Tor Valley and Clan Line at Bickley in October 1998 with the Thanet Bell from Victoria to Margate. Now that's what I call nostalgic.